We have a question today all about around stenciling and how can you stop it from bleeding through on different surfaces. This is a Creative Crafters podcast. Hi, I'm Bette from Bette's Makes, and this is your questions answered. Now, the big thing about stencils, it will depend on the surface that you're going to be using. If you have a rough surface, you will get bleed because the stencil cannot lie flat. Now you want to make sure your surface is clean of debris, and of course that sometimes means washing it down or cleaning it to the point where you have no rough edges and it is a perfectly flat surface. Now, take paper for example. You don't want a paper that is textured. You want something that is very flat. So just keep that in mind. Now, other surfaces such as wood surfaces and that, most seem to be just fine, but just make sure they're not rough. If they are, then clean it off and maybe sand it down. That will make a big difference. Now, when you lie the stencil flat, you can hold it down with, of course, painter's tape, and just make sure that it's going to lie down flat so it's not going to lift up in the areas. Now, if you're really concerned about that aspect of it, you can put a spray adhesive on the back and hold it down to the surface, especially if it's metal or wood or even glass, and that will hold it in place. When you're working with paper, you can test out using the spray glue, but just remember that it's going to be really difficult to get off of paper. It may rip, so I wouldn't go that route, but I would make it so it is very flat down on the surface. So you do want to smooth it down before you put the painter's tape. And another way to do that, of course, is to tape off all the pieces that you're not working on right now. So if you're doing multicolors, you want to tape down everything in the center as well to hold it into place. Take care of the pieces that you want, remove the tape from some areas and put it down in the other, and then you will find you'll get cleaner lines. Now, when you're working with paper, don't expect clean lines because that is really difficult to achieve. However, homemade things aren't perfect, so just let it go, and just remember you will get some little bits of bleed if you're working with paper. However, the spray adhesive on the back of the stencil when you're working with wood or other surfaces will work perfectly. This has been the Creative Crafters podcast and your questions answered.